feeling as though they're underpaid. That's the takeout from the latest annual Hayes salary guide, one of the best measures of our jobs market, in my opinion. Matthew Dickason is the Chief Executive of Hayes in the Asia Pacific. Joining us now. Matthew, many thanks for your time. We always cover this survey, right, because we think it gives a really good snapshot. But the one thing I'm really curious about is there is almost record numbers of people in jobs right now. Consumer confidence is at decade lows. People are worried about something. And perhaps part of that is the employment market as well.
And I think you're entirely right. There's a confidence lever that's sitting in the marketplace as we see it. There's a disconnect between actually staff turnover in organizations and engagement in the organizations. So 70% of the people that we surveyed are either actively looking for a new job or open to a new job.
So hang on, that's a bit of a change. So you're saying that jobs are almost becoming transactional in some ways for a generation, a younger generation maybe?
Yeah, to some extent. And actually one of the survey findings was you think that those are the people that are moving jobs. Actually, it's those that are between 40 and 50 that are the most active at looking for a new job and trying to change their skills makeup in the markets that we operate in today.
Okay, so is there a concentration or an awareness of people that they need to change their skills, especially with AI roles coming, taking jobs away? Is that part of the nervousness, I wonder?
Undoubtedly, we see it. So one of the things we saw was 60% of employees are using AI in their day-to-day job, but only 22% have been trained by their employer in using it. So they are trying to take it on their own to upskill in an AI world because they know it's increasingly important for their future.
Okay, then it strikes me also that even though people are talking about lowering migration rates and all that type of thing, there are still chronic shortages of jobs in certain skilled areas. I mean, you can't get a builder, you can't get a plumber, you can't get a plasterer. There's a whole bunch of categories of work where there are critical shortages still, notwithstanding the fact that there's lots of immigrants coming in.
And it's getting worse, Ross. So last year, 79% of the companies we surveyed said they had a skill shortage. This year, it was 82%. And in those trades areas, engineering, mining, it's even worse. So the skill shortage is getting worse. It's not a cyclical thing anymore. It's structural. And it's something that is really we're battling as a society to address.
Okay, so those people in those jobs clearly will be happier with the pay scales they're receiving if there's a shortage. Broadly, though, people are dissatisfied, which I guess is the reason why they're looking out for better opportunities, better pay rates as well.
Yeah, and that's because if you look at it at an average level, it looks like everyone got an okay pay rise. But actually, if you look at it at an individual level, 42% of the people we surveyed got a pay reduction, no pay rise, or less than 2.4% pay rise. So
and if their cost of living is rising,
they're feeling poorer.
That's right. So that's part of the squeeze that's coming up.
Exactly.
And so, therefore, to engender more loyalty, do employers need to offer higher pay rates so that they are more competitive and they actually keep the staff they've got?
If they can afford to, Ross. What we saw, which was really interesting actually, is increasingly employees are looking for career progression and development. So 31% moved because of salary, 29% moved because of progression, career development. And so actually that's a lever employers can use to much greater effect than they've ever have before.
Okay, then if employers are technically feeling a bit cash poor and are struggling to afford the pay rises to either hold staff or attract staff, something at some point's got to give, doesn't it? There's either businesses go broke, because this is one thing we're starting to see the unemployment rate rise.
Yep.
Something gives at some stage in this jobs market.
Yeah, and the unemployment rate is going in kind of entry-level roles and that to a greater extent than others. Employers have to, and we're kind of going for the labour inflection point, employers have to be much more targeted in the future on pay, on progression, and on AI enablement. AI can create massive value for them, but they really need to think about how they are deploying that in their businesses to drive productivity growth.
Okay, so then let's go to the AI piece of this, because this is the great unknown. I mean, you don't know how your kids should be trained or where you should ease them one way or another. Once upon a time, you used to be able to say to a kid, learn computer coding. If you learn computer coding, you'll always have a job. Well, of course, what we now know, learn computer coding, you don't have a job because AI can do it for you.
Yeah.
So have you tried to start thinking about whether there are AI-proof jobs that are sitting out there?
It's interesting. I think AI changing jobs, and Sam Altman said this in the CBA conference earlier in the week with Matt Coleman, that job onslaught change is happening slower than people expected, or some of the people in the industry expected. Ultimately, though, the human is still increasingly important. And even your coder who's coding, it's still a job, but they're working with models to code much better than they ever have before. And so we're looking at more human skills, critical thinking, inquisitiveness, problem solving, which are human and foundationally, and so those will be increasingly important as we move forward.
But what about those with the creative arts, the writers, the illustrators, the designers, all of those? Do they have a role as well?
I think, actually, interestingly enough, AI is going to create more opportunities because the way they think and their expansive mindset and the way they approach work actually adds massive value. So if they work with AI and upskill themselves, they can create new opportunities that they never ever thought about before.
Would you prefer to be starting your career now, or would you prefer to be where you are?
It's a very good question. I think I'd enjoy starting my career now. It's going to be an interesting ride. I think there's an inflection point. Things are going to change, but the future ultimately is going to be really, really interesting, and the human becomes more important.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll keep an eye on this Hayes salary guide as well. Many thanks for your time today, Matthew Dickason.
Thanks, Ross.